Yo, what's good, everybody? Happy Friday to all of you. Hope you're all doing well. Saffron, welcome in, dude. Heidi, welcome. Sent over some files from what we were talking about on Wednesday with the whole autumn garden thing. Oh, cool. Awesome, Saf. I will take a look. Bunch. Salutations. Welcome in. Bye, Nap. You're back. Happy Friday, dude. How are you? Also submitted a tune. Let's wait until listening day. For the monthly challenge. Awesome. Greetings from sunny Maryland, says Paul. Greetings from sopping wet and dark gray Portland. What's up, Jafar? Welcome in. How is everybody today? I've got some opportunities to spread around today. Let me see here if I can find all of these. Let's find our Discord here. Hey, Andromia. Okay, so lots of people have been asking about internships, opportunities in any way related to Audio Design Desk and what we've got cooking up over there. And there are a handful of opportunities. Never Ali. Welcome in. Happy Friday. Each time I say your name, I think I'm saying it wrong because I don't know how to say half the names in chat because we can't speak to each other with our voices. Where is I going? Discord? Hey, Navar. All right. My Slack. All right, so I've got some links here. The first things that I post to the Discord will be internships. All right, and you know what? I'm actually going to post a new channel for this. And we'll just call this opportunities. And I'll deal with all the permissions later. All right, so everyone is in this, I believe, right? By default, I'm pretty sure. And let's just move this up to the top. And let's put right below the feedback, we'll put Imaginate. All right, so I'm moving this opportunities, brand new channel right up to the top. And all right, like I'm typing. It's nothing huge to start, but it is something. And it's got to start somewhere, right? All right, so I've got a series of internship opportunities. Please be sure that you read through all of the details if you are thinking about applying for one of these. There's a composer intern opportunity. These are all remote. Got a marketing opportunity. I should probably change this to be Audio Design Desk opportunities, maybe. Because we will be posting even more and different things later. All right, we got one for general beta testing. Keep in mind that Audio Design Desk right now is Mac only. Okay, and then the music producer one. So this is music production. Oh, I should put intern on each one of these. Composer intern, marketing intern, beta tester, and music production intern. Okay, so these are not paid gigs. These are foot in the door gig kind of things. I mean, beta testers just testing. There's also an opportunity for those interested. Hey, Will is here. Zev Music in the chat. There's also opportunity for a small handful of people to just share their first time experience installing, firing up, going through the little tutorial, clicking on things for the first time inside of the program to see what your reactions are and how intuitive things actually are versus how intuitive we may think they are. Navar, I'm just posting it to a brand new channel, opportunities. Cool Pennsylvania today, huh, Saf? Don't let me forget about the sounds you sent in. I'll get it over to the email here in a bit. We have a high school senior in our production society. He's interested in an internship. Paul, send him whatever link might be appropriate. And you can have him put your name, maybe your name and his name. I'm sorry, your name and my name in there or something as references, as like associations. Assuming this is still only for the Mac version of ADD. Yes, there will be no Windows version of ADD for some time. This is known. We will not have one for some time. We haven't even begun development or even looking at it yet. So big patience required for the Mac side of things. Bye now. All right, you're in line for some feedback. Excellent. As a music teacher in his school's been good. Needs more 17-year-old who likes to make MIDI controllers and program. I see. Nothing for that yet. But let's keep him in the loop. Holy Beats, welcome in. Navar, yeah, you can do, you can drop links on the public channel here. Saf, if you build an awesome MIDI controller, then I will use it here on stream. Yeah, Navar, you can absolutely start sending stuff in. Awesome. Trailer's here. Music by Trailer in the chat. Happy Friday, dude. How are you? When you sell ADD to Microsoft, will they make the Windows version Logic payback? Oh, that's awesome. All right, so there is a another opportunity that I'll post here. If you're interested in sitting down with someone from Audio Design Desk and sharing thoughts about using ADD for the first time, we are interested in talking with you. All right, so basically what we want is a chance to actually watch people Open it up for the first time. Look at things. Click on the tutorial, see if stuff makes sense, see if things are in the places where you might expect them to be. What are big, oh wow moments? You know, what are the things that you see for the first time that are just earth-shatteringly cool that you've always wanted in another DAW? What is missing that isn't in this DAW? Stuff like that, you know. We want to know how quick and easy it is to make sense of these things. And if you are interested, reply to this thread in here. And I will get you connected. Will is part of the team. That is Zev Music in the chat, as well as in the Discord. You can also DM me with questions. So there you go. We've got a few different things for those wanting to be involved in any way, shape, or form. Here you go. Mac only, unpaid gigs. These are just kind of early steps. All right, Saf says, let's download the sounds. Yes, we will go download the sounds. Productions by Blue. Welcome in, dude. How are you? Happy Friday. Not as easy as it sounds, or I already would have done it. All right, so gonna click into public feedback over here. I'm gonna click into my email. How many do we have in here already? Three in line. Let's go check our email. Everybody looking for feedback today, please post to the Discord. Nice. 3 new samples from Saf. Maybe that's one more thing we can do between feedback today is update the community sample library that we've been cooking up in the background. Everyone who is part of the community can freely download sounds from other members of the community, and you can do that here. If you are looking for feedback today, hit the Discord, post in the public feedback. Links or tracks are fine. If you're currently a subscriber, hit the Discord and hit the subscriber rewards channel and download your free sound pack of the month. It is funky this month. Rhythmic comb toppers, whatever you're inspired to make with said samples, bring it on back and submit it here by the end of the month in the monthly challenge, and you will get another free pack of sounds. All right, I think that's all of my spiels for the day. All right. Let me kill this background music here. Blah. Killed. And I got 3 samples in from Saf just now. Crumbling Leaf. With distant lawnmower accompaniment. All right, quick lesson in field recording. Good for a general like ambience, not good for isolation though, just because of the background noise. But I have a couple ideas. We could even turn that lawnmower in the background into something, maybe a bass. That one's good. Leaves into a bag. What's up, Eric? This is crunchy. You know what we could do with this? We could make our own little vinyl crackle. Speaking of little beat making hacks, I made a bunch of beats on the stream the other day, and I got a couple of people sending in messages asking if we could take a look at battery together. One person was interested in how to properly set up multi-output sound into their DAW, which we can definitely look at. And the other thing was, how do we use battery as a general sampler? And that is absolutely doable. I actually really like it as a sampler. There's a lot of reasons to use battery, and not all of them are for beat making. So yeah, we can take a look at both of those. Those are both really good inquiries. But before we dive into anything on the production side of things, let's see who's got what cooking here. First one in the door today is from Javar. He says, "This is one of 2 songs I wrote last night in stream for fun." Nice. I saw the notification you were going to go for another short song stream. "No mixing or polish yet, just the raw output. Still not sure about the ending." All right, cool. Ooh, it's a spooky bit. All right, here we go. Volume seems okay here, Javar. Anybody else feeling like it's low? Meters are all looking normal here. Okay, so a couple things. There's a really cool atmosphere that you're building here, and I'm loving your use of like mid-high frequencies in here. Right here when those little bits start coming in. Here's something you might want to try. Putting a little bit of filter modulation, like a high pass filter modulation on that tail, on that process channel for your vocals. It seems like if you were to cut out low end as that was going, that you could keep that tail going just a little bit longer, and it would really kind of carry the mood just that much more. I really like the lean in, like that's really subtle in there, right? These drums seem just a little bit off of the tuning of the pad here, so I'm not sure if one actually needs to change, but it feels like it's just a little bit high. Oh, on the vocal, on the breath, the high pass on the breath. So it would like slowly cut out some more of those lows. You could probably extend the tails, maybe even a couple more bars that way. EDC bound, wish you luck. Good luck, Ben. How are you feeling, by the way? Okay, so here, where the vocals are, it seems like the verb itself has a fair bit of resonant buildup in the middle, and is competing slightly with the original vocal delivery. So I would probably go in there and take a scoop out around 500, and then I would also just sweep it for resonance in general, just to create a little bit more separation, to give those frequencies just a little bit more room to work. You can still keep the dry wet balance, and it will sound good. And then here toward the end, this noise that comes up here. So I like the addition of the noise, just not the delivery of the noise. So it felt a little bit dry and too forward and just kind of flat. So if it was to stay dry and forward like that, what I would probably do is use, actually, you could use something like hysteresis from Glitch Machines to really get that out of the center really quickly, out to the sides, and move them in a way that is not just like really interesting, but it will add even more dimension to the whole thing without obfuscating the sound. It would still stay very present and forward. It just wouldn't be right in the middle, and it just wouldn't be feeling quite as dry. Other than those three things, I'm really digging this. Like this is you shining through in a really short form. I feel like the build and the change up here, I think you could do a couple of things differently. I'm not sure that I really want to toss out ideas right now, honestly, just because I love what you bring. With that said, maybe a little bit more long form modulation and some sort of assistance in the transition here, sonically. And just let your mind chew on those things and see what comes out the other end. I really like it. I like that you're exploring the like 2.5 minute thing. It's good. It's good. I'm digging this. I definitely approve. All right, let's see what other people are saying here. Jafar, that sucks that you're not hearing half of it. Yeah, all the meters and everything looked okay here. This is definitely a lot more lean in than the second half, obviously. Oh, I always find the happy, joyful sounds the most frightening, like a beatific smile. I wonder what sinister purpose they're hiding. Navarre says something I could hear in Assassin's Creed, Metal Gear Solid, etc. Yeah, exactly. Big love, Ben. Are you going to EDC alone? Noise is a bit grating. Have to soften it up. Hi, this is just a stream of consciousness over 50 minutes. Not bad at all for 50 minutes. Yeah, I have no doubt at all that you're going to smooth out the rough edges of this one. Definitely chase it. I think it's worth finishing. I think pretty much anything that you're chasing in this 2-minute realm is worth chasing all the way through to completion with a master, just for the sheer process of it all. Plus, you never know. You never know. Anything that you think is cutting room floor right now at your level currently, you can use that in a royalty-free portfolio somewhere as bait, right? Clickbait to get people into your more serious stuff. Yeah, I would chase every last little thing out. All right, who's up next? Binat. All right, it's been a minute. Something new from Binat. And Sublantic. Okay. I got some things here. This is a really cool vibe. And it makes me miss the club. You've definitely tapped into the energy, and you've got a really solid arrangement here. You've got good mood. You've got good ideas. There are some issues holding it back. So one, I think that you're just kind of like driving all of this too hard here from the very beginning. You can see it's all kind of peaked out, which means, and the stuff hasn't even really started to hit yet. We've already kind of maxed out at a certain point here. We aren't going to get to feel the power because we're cutting off the power with the compression, or the limiting, or whatever. So just from the ground up, I'd watch the low end frequencies in any reverb, even when building ambience. As soon as other players start to enter the mix, they are being harmed, held back, obfuscated, bumped into, whatever, by the low end and the reverb, right? And it's also going to interfere with the original signal of said low end. So anyway, just make sure that you're not spreading around too many low frequencies in reverb. Can't stress enough how dope the vibe is, how good some of these sounds are. Full volume remix. I think just going through, turning off compression on everything that you know doesn't absolutely need compression. Zero out the volume on everything. Find one hero, bring that bad boy up to like -7, -6 dB, and don't let it go over in its peaks, and then bring everything else up around it to an appropriate level. And while you're doing that, track by track by track, wrangle in the low end, focus the energy of each sound with an EQ. Try to do subtractive work first and not too much busy work with your EQ. Make intelligent decisions about like what parts of your sound are the focal point and what else can be trimmed. Okay. And it's going to make more room for each one of your sounds to stand on its own and to be heard clearly in the mix. The other thing, and I think that this is probably a buildup of several different things, but it's not just the limiting that's holding back the mix. I think that there's something else going on. There's something that's been applied. It usually starts with a preset, or a misunderstanding about some kind of fundamental element in a process. But it leaves your music feeling kind of muzzled. So unmuzzle the beast, right? That's really all you have to do here, and this thing is really going to shine. You have a really great moment here at 331, and I think that this would feel twice as good with a really good mix. So anyway, start with EQ. I would work with really crisp and clean forms of saturation on your basses, and try to kind of sharpen the edges of them just a little bit. What are EQs? Equalizers. Just the word equalizer kind of makes you realize what the fundamental purpose of it is, right? So anyway, let's see what everybody else is saying here. Roku just posted excellent, excellent. Think some of the sawtooth sounds need a bit more love, some reverb and saturation. That's Zev Music saying this. Tremtize is saying those clap snares a bit too much space or wet. Saf is saying maybe a bit more distortion on the saw bass. Yeah, but it looks like everyone is just talking about mixed stuff. Yep. Mixing on headphones too loud, or his monitors are not calibrated correctly in his room, and his room has reflection issues, which is, it's like the most common thing in the world, right? What's up, Gabriel? How you doing, man? Yeah, I'm really liking the ending section too, Eric. Yeah. Will is saying snare feels pretty empty too. Could use some EQ and maybe pitch down 1 or 2 steps. I think both Will and I kind of tune in when the percussion stuff isn't quite tuned to the mix. Drum Ties say nightclub vibes for sure. That is absolutely. You just made this last night, dude. Seriously? So you've got more time to put in on this then, huh? Navarre says, am I the only one that thought how long the beat lasts? The better? Blackberry says, sometimes altering the early reflection patterns and pre-delay, delay times of a reverb is an effective way to alter the bass response to the verb without having to reach for an EQ. Boom. Boom. Waves in alignment. Equal icing on the cakes. Nice, nice. Oh, man. Zev is saying this is some peak time techno, so a bit too high energy for my set, but when it's done and polished, I'd love a copy. Boom, right? And Roku's saying definitely likes it, would definitely play it in a set. Yeah, very nice, very nice. Awesome. And welcome back, by the way. I think it's been a couple weeks since we've seen you. All right, who's next? Navarre's next. And I need to, I've noticed, I've been trying to find a better output for you guys because a couple people said the sound was kind of weird in the last stream anyway. And I've noticed that perhaps sometimes when I have multiple SoundCloud tabs open, anyway, sorry, have a hard time clicking and talking at the same time apparently, that sometimes the sound from SoundCloud isn't the greatest. So let's see if what happens when we just close out all of our SoundCloud tabs and then go back into this. All right, Navarre, you are up. My first time trying this type of music. It's a great track name. I want to hear just a little bit more of this end here. And here in the mid. Okay, this spot right here at 1 minute, you can really hear this thing in the voice. Can you hear the resonance? It's like an overdriven kind of energy, and there's also resonance brewing in there. It makes the vocals a little harsh overall. They're really nice vocals, and I love the effect that you're going for. Similar feedback on the drums. I can hear exactly what you're going for, and they're just not quite there yet. I think a little multi-band compression and some saturation on those would really help them kind of pop and sizzle in all the right ways. Just going back to the beginning, once I hear the vocals and I hear where you're actually going with this whole thing, I want to go back to the keys in the intro and just soften them a little bit. They seem a little hard up top, and perhaps even a little bit too defined even. It'd be great if they were just a little bit more lush. So they're blending really, really well with those vocals, and they're supporting them every step of the way. The inverse of that, I think the bass could actually use some more definition. If you hear it in the mix, I get that you want it to be supportive and not be overbearing, but it comes across as being as though something's been kind of laid on top of it. So instead, I say give it a little bit of definition and keep it kind of pulled back in the mix like you have it right now, and I think it'll sit fine. Like I said, I think the drums can use a little love. I think they need some focus on the mids, but some multi-band compression. And saturation. Player's choice. And at the end, going into this outro, I think the chimes, particles, whatever, I think they could be accented a bit more and dispersed. You know, think like a shimmer kind of reverb, and maybe accent your highs just a little bit in there. I think it would have a nice a bit more of a floaty feel at the end there. Drum ties. Also, when I say weird, that's mostly always a good thing. Yeah, definitely, right? Drum ties is saying the mix is a bit flat, but this is such a cool vibe. Yep. Scruffy says, like the vibe, def. Blackberry says, just to carry on the thought, when picking a reverb, people tend to first pick a sound because they like the tonal color, slap it into the mix, and then EQ it because of how it clashes. But when you first listen, you are listening to it as a frequency, harmonic alteration device. But when it's in a mix, subconsciously, you begin to perceive reverb as a spatial effect and its cumulative change over time. That's why altering early reflection and delays can be effective. And this also feeds directly back to the point that I'm always making about the reverb, which is listen to your reverb first. Like always listen to your reverb in a full, wet audition. So you actually know what it sounds like, what your sound sounds like going through it, because there are so many people that I know that make really good music and they pick the wrong reverb and the wrong pre-delay setting for their reverb for that specific element. And it kind of drives me nuts because I feel like the whole thing would just feel so much better, like you just fall into it if all that stuff was in proper alignment. Chumtai says, how about making that single note reverb increase at the outro, washing it out like a big wave or swoop effect? Ooh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. BlackBerry is kind of adding to this because you're now changing the effect based upon its function over time. Exactly. And your perception of it over time in a larger mix. In other words, how it's fitting into this much larger scheme. Yeah, if you approach it the wrong way, then you just chase your tail all day. And if you really start to tune in with critical listening and really honest feedback for yourself as you're hearing stuff for the very first time, full wet output, and then listen to what your ears and brain are telling you when you do start to hear those signals mixed together, right? When the dry and wet come together, and you start to interpret it through the BPM of the music, do things actually sound genuine or natural, or are they sounding off in some way? I think that we all have these little moments where if we are truly tuned in to the truth in us in those moments, we can quickly navigate away from what would be a pitfall. But all too often, we're very excited about the next thing that we're about to do, which is, it's a pitfall, right? It's always a pitfall. It's the same in relationships, right? Like, we get frustrated when the people sitting across from us are just simply waiting for their turn to speak, right? And that's kind of how it is in the world of production. Like, when you're working in isolation and you're trying to get through this one task quickly so you can get to that thing that you want to do, so you don't lose track of it, so you don't lose hold of this thing that you're chasing. And in the process, we oftentimes skip over these really, what I think are essential steps, right? And until you really know your reverbs or whatever, it's just easy to do. Anyway. Navari says, I did that, but a guy said it was too quiet, so I took it up. Yeah, so this is how to say this. So if we were sitting in a classroom right now, and I was actually teaching this, you guys would already know the laws, like the OhmLab laws. You always listen with your own ears first, right? And know that anyone else that's giving you feedback has no idea what your original and true intentions were with something, right? And you really want to tune in to the feedback that's coming from a place that's informed and well-intended. And then you just kind of have to sit with that for a bit, right? And adhere to what your vision is for something. And if your gut says, like if you stopped at a point with your reverb where you felt it was good, and someone else comes in and says, hey, you should you should double that reverb or whatever, just caution. Yeah. Says the guy giving you feedback, right? Seva2302, welcome in, dude. Happy Friday. If you're looking for some feedback, you can drop it in the Discord, link or track in the Discord public feedback channel. If you're currently subbed to the stream, you can get a free sound pack every single month. And you can get that on the Discord in the subscriber rewards channel. Roku says, I am Reverb, your personal soft fuzzy blanket. Make me wet. Oh, Trailer says, this is such a key skill I am really trying to work on. How to switch and be able to listen without bias. 72302, if you hit the Discord, we are in the public feedback channel. Oops. I am your personal blanket. Oh, Roku. Dude, seriously. You make me smile. Blackberry is saying the trick with mixing is learning that just because something sounds cool doesn't mean it's the best choice. Too many people will sacrifice their entire mix and overall performance for the sake of keeping the perfect whatever sound. This goes beyond simple sound selection. Yeah, so, you know, just because you can doesn't mean you should, right? So there's these sayings like that, you know, less is more and all this kind of stuff. Look before you leap. But you know, the one that really kind of cuts through for a lot of people, for whatever reason, maybe it's because we've all been there at some point. You want to jam with your friends. They're like, hey, let's have a band. We're all really good at what we do. Let's do this. And you set up shop in someone's, you know, way too reflective basement or garage, and you fire up a song and everyone's just going all in all at once and it sounds like trash, right? When everyone steps back and stays in their freaking lane and doesn't try to show all the things they can do, it sounds great. It sounds really great. And you hear me say this sometimes in feedback and whatnot about how I don't like it when people tell me the same joke 5 or 6 times at the same party. I don't like hearing the same little trick 5 or 6 times in a track if it's really, really good. I want to hear it once or maybe twice, but the second time is slightly different. So it catches me up and it surprises me and it makes me realize that I was anticipating something that wasn't about to happen, right? Yeah, it's important to think about the tools that you're selecting, the tricks that you're employing, the sounds that you're going for. And like Blackberry is basically saying here, right? Like prioritizing tricks over the greatness of something, like the entirety of your track. It's probably not worth it. Roku says, also tell us what your track is and what you want Chris to focus on in your track. Yeah, absolutely. You know, all music is appreciated and welcomed here. It is about listening without bias or with proper. Oh, is it about listening without bias or proper bias? No. That's just it. It is the word bias. It's the thing. It's the function of bias and why bias exists. You know what makes someone a really, 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 really good listener? They're not anticipating what's going to be said next. So they don't have expectations. They are in the moment and they are hearing what is being put into their ear holes in real time. And they're processing what is coming into their ear holes. Not all of the mental chatter that gets laid on like freaking frosting with most people, right? Like we really have to calm our minds to be good listeners. And I think that a lot of that is just checking ego at the door and just telling our inner voices just to shut the hell up for a minute and let us freaking process what's happening in this very moment. If we can do that, then we can begin to operate without bias. And when we're operating without bias, we can actually hear our innermost honest voice, our gut reaction to things, right? And if biases have been pushed aside truly, if ego's been checked at the door, then what's coming from that voice of truth inside of us is very, very powerful, right? Because we know ourselves better than anyone. We're just not allowed, or we don't normally allow ourselves to admit a lot of our faults to ourselves, right? And the same thing goes with our art. We want our choices to be really good and whatnot. And you know what? Screw that. I like making mistakes because then I know what not to do. And if I put something on a sound and I don't like it, you guys see me do it all the time. I'm just like, all right, well, that's trash. I'm just going to move on. And it's not because I've given up on something. It's because I'm really honest with myself. I'm not going to pursue something that I don't like. I'm not going to try and force it. But the same thing goes in a mix. You've just got to get to this point where you can hear something and judge it really quick and be like, that did not sound natural, or that is not what I was going for. And just take that thing off and start with a different thing, or start from scratch, or just slow yourself down in whatever way you need to get to a moment of like genuine honesty with yourself. Anyway, off the soapbox, meditate. Yeah. You can, but either way, Chris will just pick up on whatever anyway. If you got something specific you want to pay attention to, that is. But else just drop whatever. Yeah, totally. Absolutely. Here lies less more. The thing is that not everyone is good at feedback. Preference and knowledge are not the same thing. Yeah. Yeah, this is true. Zev is saying, Chris spitting truth nuggets left and right. Pew, pew, pew. Mistake equals lesson equals, oh, it does not equal defeat. Yeah. Trust your ears, trust your instincts, and trust OhmLab. At OhmLab we stand. Montague. Yeah, seriously though, if you lie to yourself all the time, you can't trust your freaking instincts. Are you kidding me? Your instinct is to lie to yourself. You gotta get right with yourself before you can really. Otherwise, it's much like falling into something, not knowing how you got there, and then expecting yourself to be able to recreate that greatness or that moment, when in fact you can't, because you don't understand how you got there. So the only way to get there again is to stumble around, or to back up and take the time to actually truly start to ingest all of these things without ego and fully come to a point of understanding, instead of just believing that you like somehow wield amazing awesomeness at all times. It's just not realistic. So Saf says mistakes are actually pretty good when it comes to music, because sometimes you can run into happy accidents. Boom. Cryptosis says, I'm new, but the feedback you have been given is great. Oh, well, thank you, Cryptosis. I appreciate you being here. Happy Friday to you. Insight says Subvids. Welcome in, Zach. How are you, dude? Happy Friday. Hey, how's Universal being received by the world? Blackberry says, true and Jamia, but good feedback is quantifiable, and the reviewer also delineates when their comments are subjective. Yeah, or at least you hope they do, right? Oh, it's not a mistake. It's a happy accident. I love it. I love it. Any Bob Ross mention here is great. I'm still so fired up about the Bob Ross stuff. I'm gonna go find the fool that decided to set up a counterfeit ring with his stuff, and I just want to throttle him, paint him. Yeah, very true. In Germany, I never saw myself as an engineer or producer. I'm much more of the composition side of things, says Tremtize. Yep. Look at all the lo-fi artists. They mix our mistakes, but sounds great on other. Yeah. Scruffy relies on luck. Not everyone knows the difference between subjective versus technical feedback. Like, this hurts is technical, and that snare ain't bad. Ain't it, bro? It's subjective. That's it. I love that it always comes back to just pushing buttons and making weird sounds for you, Andromeda. Absolutely. Bleep bloop. Bop incoming. Trailer. Well, you take care, dude. We'll see you on the flip. Yeah, Paul, I love your happy accidents. I love the randomness of the Uncle Chrome stuff. And yeah, we got you with the VODs, dude. Another stream for a rewatch, right? Just have a backlog, right? Make mistake, repeat it equals jazz. Yeah, absolutely. All right. We're moving on. Cryptosis is up next. Here we go. This one's called Simple.
As a kid, my mom told me to be simple. Call it what it is a symbol. I'm about to take your fucking head and bust it like a symbol.
As a kid, my mom told me to be simple. This ain't a K, this is hope. Call it what it is a symbol. And when I do my thing, I always keep it nimble. I'm about to take your fucking head and bust it like a symbol. Call it crash, I'm about to beat your ass. Never coming in last. If we racing, I win. These are the facts. I just pass. Put my foot up on the gas. So far in first place, they throw me and I pass. But I just outlast all the trash. You know I'm crazy in the mental world. I spit it out the dental, but I got the dentures. So I venture where I shouldn't venture. Even while the odds against me, yeah, I never surrender. No, I never surrender, cause I'm clever. I just get better. Yeah, I'll just get better. Yeah, I do this with no measure. This isn't pressure, this is all pleasure. Flames scorching off my body. You would think I was Endeavor, but I never come in second. No, I don't. I be smoking on the drove while I'm passing your ass though. Can't see through the smoke. I can't see it like 94. Pedal down to the floor. Thoughts going crazy. Yeah. They spark insanely. They go off mainly for my safety. I keep them chain link so they don't break free. If you want them, then you're gonna have to. I've been going through some shit lately. It's not a one-time thing. I've been going through it daily. Yeah, not scared, but anxiety got me shaking. I'm never faking. I keep it real and I'm never trading. This whole dream for a break-in until I'm dead. I'll rip these pieces of shreds. I'll do what my mom said. I'ma keep it simple. Yeah, now you know that I'm just a simple man.
All right, so this one's good. This one's good. Hold on. Come on now. All right. This guitar is kind of the backbone of the whole thing, right? I think it needs a little bit of love. I think it could use some more definition. It could maybe even use something really simple, like as a very small amount of filter modulation or something to add a little bit of movement to it, because it does start to get a little bit monotonous. But in that, you actually have some opportunities, right? Because you've got this thing just kind of looping, and whenever you have something like that in this type of music, you can start to remix it just a little bit, right? So think about a couple of different ways in which you can play with some clever little turnaround stops, stutters, that type of thing. You had a really nice change up right here in the middle. I would add a small transition effect for emphasis on that. But that, I mean, this shows right here, this moment right here shows that you're more than capable of coming up with different ideas to kind of spice up the guitar element that's running throughout this thing. That said, I would attend to that after you dial in the drums. And I say after the drums because you need to spice up these drums. Like they're just kind of sitting back there and everything else is a bit more forward. And I just want more from them. Multi-band compression. Focus on the mids, really make them pop. You don't have to worry about the lows very much. You've got this really boomy bass in there. Some saturation to add a little bit of extra sizzle and shine, really kind of bring them up. You know, they don't need to make your eyes blink or anything, but they do need to be present for this, right? You've got some big vocals and you've got a big grinding guitar, so they have to have legs. I want more separation between the vocal elements and less brute force, more clever attention grabbing in the vocals. Let's just go back and listen in a couple of spots here.
Racing, I win. These are the facts. I just pass. Put my foot up on the gas. So far in first place, they throw me and I pass, but I just outlast all the trash. You
Okay, so this right here, this little like 10-second segment that we've just listened to here, this is a really good pocket for you to focus on. Play with volume and move these things around, right? Like separate these players. Try to imagine what this would look on a stage, each iteration of vocals in this track being a different person on that stage, right? How do they stagger themselves? How are they moving to each still have the attention of the audience that they're performing in front of, right? Right? Find some ways to create separation and allow these guys, each one of these iterations, to have spotlight moments instead of everybody combining all of the time, right? It's not an a cappella boy band. It is a track, right? You know what I mean? And it should move around like it's its own track, not just this like ensemble idea. Does that make sense? Okay, so I'm going to scroll up and see what other people are saying about this one. Zev is saying kick is buried in the mix. I think it could come out a lot more. I agree. Blackberry says I was playing really terribly one day when studying with a mentor, a well-known player, and he said, "What the heck are you doing?" And I said, "It's chord extensions. Get with the program." We both laughed like crazy. Turkish carpets purposely include airs as a matter of course. Yeah, I love that stuff. Yeah, nothing shall be perfect. There's always a reason to do another. Zev says vocals could use some love too, maybe a de-esser and some more layering, just help beef them up a bit and bring them out to the front more. Yeah, and I think, again, separation is going to be your best friend in all of that. You can beef up any of the individual ones. But yeah, really think about like when you're using like call and response, there should be enough separation for that relationship to be identified immediately, right? Like when two MCs are spitting back and forth at each other, right? They turn and they face each other, or they're standing opposite one another, right? And so there's this like back and forth and it makes sense, right? Yeah. Scruffy says, not my genre, but getting Linkin Park vibes. I want the guitar to go apeshit at some point, right? Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, maybe not full on Yongwei, but yeah. Drumtie says, I don't know if this is intentional, but this feels like it never takes off properly. I feel like it needs some big impact or big chorus because, yeah, this is simple, but it could use a bit of power, especially on the guitar, maybe add some gain on that chorus to really make it hit, like in this vibe. Roku says, I say one thing, too much stereo elements. Nothing is down the middle except for the kick, and the kick is buried, so stereo is 3D. Choose where things are placed versus everything needs to be wide. Fuchsia's here. Happy Friday, Fuchsia. Haven't seen you in a couple of weeks. How are you? Cryptosis says, appreciate all the great feedback, everyone. Roku says, all love. Wabi Sabi. Yeah, Cryptosis, you may have noticed that we just kind of point out the things that could be improved. That's why you're really here, right? Otherwise, you just take it somewhere else and they'd be like, nice kick, bro. This thing is hella fire. And we'll say, dude, this thing's freaking dope. It'll be hella fire soon. All right, anyway, let's get to production by Plu. Here we go. This one is called Nights on Earth. He says, just started this last night. Not sure which direction to take it. Probably won't finish it. Hope you all enjoy it anyway. Well, let's see if we can change that. Maybe we'll inspire you to chase this down after we listen to it. As I'm typing out my thoughts about the main pluck, the ARP, Roku's saying, hey, it needs some swing. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to quit typing. Yeah, he's right. The other thing is that you've got, like, this is a sandbox. This is just playing. This is fun. And you've got a lot of fun ideas being explored. What I would recommend is copy this out a few times in your DAW and keep doing that. Keep playing. And then go back and pick the very best tasty little bits that you came up with, all of the most choice little maneuvers. And then go back and try and put this into one thing that isn't just tricks. It's got some sort of an arc to it, right? Because, like, I've done this plenty of times. You get hyped tonight on an idea, and you just start throwing stuff at it. And then you get kind of tired because you've been doing it for a while. And then you're like, huh. And then you don't know what to do because there wasn't really a mission. It was more just play, which is totally fine. That's when a lot of really, really good stuff comes out. But that's kind of what it sounds like to me. It's like you've got this idea and you're going through a whole bunch of different playful things that you want to try. So I would say keep doing that and then go back and harvest your favorites, because there are a few of the little change ups and embellishments and little twists and turns that you do that weren't as impressive as others. But hearing how impressive some of them were, I want more of those. So that would probably be the best advice that I could give you at this point. Just this line, not sure which direction to take it, probably won't finish it, and hope you enjoy it anyway. I know that feeling exactly. So if you're into the vibe and you want to go back and explore it, I would recommend, like, spend another 30 minutes just playing and capture the whole thing, right? Just play, record, and then go back and chop and harvest. These are like garden projects, these types of tracks. I talk about it quite a bit about, like, planting seeds and harvesting, right? The planting seeds part is just having fun. Go and play, chase a couple of ideas. Those are your seeds. And then let them grow for 30 minutes to an hour or whatever while you're just recording in chunks. And then go back and, you know, strip silence if it's sound design, or just go back and, like, leave markers as you're actively listening if it's just contiguous music, right? Either way, you'll figure out a workflow for this type of thing, but those type of sessions are necessary, I think. That said, I like the instant vibe with the ambience that you have right at the very, very beginning of this thing. And I really like the playful energy of it. I like the vibe that you're going for. I think that if you do want to chase this one and bring it back, then I'd throw all sorts of mixed stuff at you. But for right now, that's what I got for you. Fuchsia's saying instant vibe. I definitely agree with that. Definitely has potential vocals. A proper mix could turn into an actual banger. This could turn into something good. Yeah. Like the vibe again, but I could not dance to it without the paramedics being called. Interesting sounds in there. Find a sweet spot. Yeah. So what's up, dude? Happy Friday. Welcome in. Michael, I will see if I can remember that. Exactly what I'm trying to do with my 2-minute songs. Yeah, Javar. Absolutely. Right? Hone that. Like a Christmas tree boy. Yeah. Will is saying, OhmLab, I sent something for feedback, but I have to run for an hour, so skip over it until I'm back, please. Okay, cool. So we'll play that around 12:30 or so. Cool. We'll see you in a bit, Will. Zamerits, how are you, dude? Hey, happy Friday. So late. It's the after party. Yeah, it is late on your end, isn't it? How was your week, dude? All right, so next up is Roku. Somebody pull out a low end meter. I'm not sure if it's fair for Roku to police himself in stream. He says it still needs some corrections on certain notes and mix-wise, but it's getting very close to finish. This is a piece by Scruffica. Oh, hey. And he asked me to help mix, but it turned out more into a collaboration with the strings on it. Okay. So this is actually a Roku Scruffy collab here. It's called Days Gone, version 2. All right, let's get into it. Scruffy, Rico, my bad. Roku, Rico, Roku, Rico. Oh, Paul's doing the same thing. What a ride. Okay, this is cool. This is nice here in this collab. I want to go back and listen to this very first little perk hit up here. Everything the Urs and the Yuhi team makes is amazing. Okay, so this perk, I guess it's like 32 or something. It doesn't seem to really fit the vibe that's coming. It sounded a little bit off when I first heard it. Maybe it's that you can already feel that the groundwork is being laid for something fairly big and open. And then this percussion hits and it doesn't match the expectations of that space. Maybe it's too dry. Maybe it's a little too sharp. Not quite sure what it is. I thought if I listened to it again, I would know immediately, but I don't. I liked it a little bit better the second time I went back and listened to it, but there's still something. I'm not sure exactly what it is. Maybe I'll put my finger on it by the end of this. 137, some really lovely things happening here. Like, this is just really great. The way that all of this builds up and all of the layering and, commingling of various elements here is just awesome. I kind of wanted that little tail that's hanging after that transition there to hang for just a little bit longer. I felt that too at the very end before the guitar came back in. I was wishing that you would have left me floating there for just a few more seconds. Anyway, 230, room for just a bit more tail spray. Oh, wait, I just said that. Yep, 325, several things competing for top position here. Okay, so that's right here. I kind of felt this back here like 15 seconds prior, actually. I think I want the emotion of the violin and the power of those horns to be a bit more separate from the other things. I want there to be some kind of significant shift in the dynamic balance here, and let those two just like have this moment where they're saying something really important and sincere, and then it drops off, and then boom, we're back into it. You know what I mean? And right now I feel like I'm not sure how many elements are in here. Let's see. Because there's the trumpet. Is that like a flugel? Is that like a flugel here that comes in at the top or something? Anyway, I think that I would much rather have just a couple at this one specific moment, because it feels like it's been building and building to this point, and those guys have something to say here. I think I would be interested in a little more separation dynamics. Anyway, really great bends, those horn bends or horn synth bends. There was this one moment, 438 or 538, which is right here. Right there. It didn't feel tense. It felt a little off. 607, kind of wish I was left here to float for just a few more seconds, like I was saying before the guitar comes back in. And I think I stand by that. Let's listen. Yeah, I kind of wish that it was for just a little bit longer, for like maybe just another bar or something. It's just a little more drift. Make people question if we are going to come back to something. Like maybe even have the fade happening. I think it would be really great, you know, like the encore moment. The other thing is right at this transition point, I think a really simple transparent reversal would be really, really good. Even if it's just like a half bar crash cymbal reversed with half the EQs, or I mean, half the freaks taken off. Anyway, a couple thoughts. This is great. I like this. This is yummy. And yeah, anything from Yuhi, anything from Urs is brilliant. So good. Oh, people have stuff to say here, dude. Oh, good. Samaritz has been experimenting a lot. Nice. Roku Riku. I like that. Did you know that Rocky films are about 40% montage? Today's fun film fact from Samaritz. Oh man, people are definitely loving this vibe. Very good. No, the expensive pro stuff. Yeah, the space in that little break was awesome, right? Yeah. Yeah, the strings still so good. Yeah, everyone is really digging those trumpet bends or synth horn bends. Production by Plu. Oh, you missed your review. Oh no. Which one was it? Was it the last one? If so, we just undo the text changes and it'll come back. We've had to do that before. It was just the last one. We'll go back to it. It does tease Pat Metheny a bit, right? Perhaps the legato line of the horn is overlapping the violin too much. It might be. I think it's just a buildup of a few too many things in that same space is all. Hey, Kwame is here. What's up, brother? It is Friday and you are here. Friday's better now. How are you, man? Oh yeah, Repo 5. Dude, everything. I swear, everything that Urs makes is just freaking great. Well, his team is fantastic. But seriously. Subvid says more of that. Whoa, Samaritz might watch Dune in IMAX tomorrow. Dude. Nice. You have no music. Get out. Get out. No, I'm just kidding. It's only 3 players in the solo section. Oh, well, hold on a second. There's only 3 things playing at that moment. Something else is going on there then. There's some kind of resonant buildup or feedback or something in there. Hi during work break. Awesome. Thank you for always taking the time, Kwame. We really do appreciate you here. All right. So production by Plu. Let's just undo these really quick and see what I said. Oh, well, this is it. All that I really had for you was instant vibe with the ambience. Roku actually pointed out that the art pluck was not swung. Other things were swung, so it felt a little off. My main feedback to you is I'm not going to give you mixed feedback on this one, because this sounds like you were having a lot of fun and that you were playing and that you were going from one idea of something you wanted to play with to the next thing that you wanted to play with, which I think is absolutely fabulous. And what I think the best advice at this point on this one, for someone saying not sure what direction to take it in, probably won't finish it, is go back and play with it more. If you liked what you were doing, go back and play for like another 30 minutes or whatever, and just record it and just keep going and going and going. And then go back and harvest the favorites, because right now you've got it just going from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, which is fun. But they're not all greatest hits. Some of them were better than others. Some of them were very similar to other maneuvers. So what I would say is keep recording, keep going, go for like another 30 minutes or whatever, and go back and chop out all your favorite parts and then put them into some actual kind of like story arc. Like give this thing a bit more of a dynamic story, timeline. Everything else is pretty great. It's an awesome vibe that you're exploring. I think that, you know, if there were vocals over the top of it, it'd be a legit banger. So it's definitely something worth pursuing. I think that giving you any kind of feedback on the mix or whatever right now wouldn't do too much, because I think that you could still go have a lot more fun with this and then harvest all your favorite bits from it. That's my feedback on this one. All right. Up next is Seva. This one is called Step by Step 2. Excellent, excellent. Seva, tell me, what are your intentions? What are you doing with your music? This sounds like something that I would really suggest be put into a licensing portfolio of some kind. What are you doing? Mattoid Music, welcome in. Feel free to drop a link in the public feedback channel on the Discord. Also, if you are currently in here and you're currently subscribed to this channel, you get a free sound pack every single month. Hit the Discord subscriber rewards channel. Whatever you are inspired to make with said samples, come back and submit them in the monthly challenge, the monthly community challenge, by the end of the month. And you will get another free sound pack and a chance to win all sorts of stuff. I think this month, Zev is kicking in a Lamborghini, and Roku is kicking in a lifetime supply of all-you-can-eat rainbows. to whoever wins. Plus, you have a chance to like be on the stream and people can meet you, and you get even more sounds and some other stuff too. Try to sell beats, okay. And I like jazzy vibes sometimes, made this quickly. Kwame wants rainbows. No rainbows for you, dude. You have no... Oh, wait, no. I was talking about monthly community challenge. It's okay. You don't have a track today. That's okay. Are you playing this month, Kwame? I want to hear you throw down in one of the challenges one of these months. You know, it's funky this month. The free sample pack is funky. Rhythmic comb toppers. Just toss them on a beat and they sound funky. Squirrels that poop rainbows. Oh, man. We're going to start a squirrel farm. A rainbow poop and squirrel farm. Oh, man. Hi, Finesse. Welcome in. Thank you so much for the follow, dude. Sup, indeed. Happy Friday. Welcome in. You can drop a link in the public feedback channel on the Discord if you're looking for some. There are some people in front of you, so sit tight. All right, Seva, so here's my feedback for you. I would try selling this type of beat in places other than your average beat maker store. You know, like move beyond BeatStars or whatever and try to get this into something a bit more mainstream. It would definitely fly. I think you've got a really solid sound. I think the piano top line is a bit muted compared to the bottom. I think that a couple of drum fills would go a long way. I think that some transition effects sprinkled throughout here would also go a long way. There are a couple of things that kind of become or start to become a little monotonous after a bit, but if you were to add just a couple of those things, a couple of fills and a couple of transition effects, nothing over the top, nothing EDM-y, just a little bit of something to add interest. You know, it could be as simple as a small snare reversal in front of 2 snare hits in the entire thing. It could be as simple as a super small 1 bar, half bar, bright white riser that's like almost inaudible as you change something up. Very, very simple things, I think. You also can go old school on this, right? You've got this vibe going. You could play with some chimes or something like that as some kind of a transition. There are a few different things that you could do. So I think my main feedback here is this is fun. You've got a great arrangement. Now go back and have a little bit of fun with it, right? Like listen to the entire thing and listen for 2 things. One, where can you sprinkle in sprinkles, right? This is just icing and sugar time. And then the other thing is, what can you take away? Is there anything you can take away? Is there something that's happened so many times that we don't need to hear it again? Or is there something that hasn't really changed in the last 30 seconds to 1 minute that we could change up in some way? The other thing is going through with a really critical ear on each element with an EQ and make sure that you are hearing each element the way that you intend it to be heard. I'm definitely not going to sit here and say anything sounds off except for the top of that piano here. That's it. How long have you been doing this, and how many tracks have you produced thus far? Hey, Travis is here. What up, Travis? Been lurking. No scrolls, they're ripping my yard up with their nut burying. Yeah, man, we're still taking submissions. Finesse, we are going to go for another hour or so. It looks like it'll be another one of those Fridays where we don't even touch the DAW. It should be becoming more and more common on Fridays, really. Shout out to Travis. Travis, can you please post a link to Progressions? If you have not listened to Progressions podcast, check it. It is absolutely worth your time. And don't just listen to it, share it with some friends. Travis Ferentz is a wonderful host, and he has really, really good guests. They say really great things that make you think. Travis makes you think. It's full of wisdom and insights from the industry, from people who know some things and have done some things, and it's entertaining as well. DJ Empirical. Oh, of course. I come in and you say average beat maker. Oh, Travis says, OhmLab, what's an example of a more mainstream site that isn't BeatStars? Okay, yeah, okay, fair question. If we're talking like trying to get into, you know, like television commercials and whatnot, Audio Jungle is closed down right now for new submissions. You can't get in there. I think Pond 5 might be closed to new submitters as well. There are always new folks stepping into the audio game for that very reason. Dreamstime used to be just royalty-free images, and now they are doing audio the same exact way that Getty and iStock and these other guys have gotten into the game. That said, there are models that I don't like quite as much that also allow you to start breaking into this side of the industry. Artlist.io, they're not going to pay you very much. That's not cool. You can get started there. It's something to consider. Oh, and I also want to reiterate the fact that I'm not bagging on BeatStars. I love BeatStars, and I love the other marketplaces that have cropped up in that same exact kind of zone, if you will, in that arena. It's just that I think that this is applicable to more than just those marketplaces where predominantly MCs are shopping. I think that this has legs for and potential for more commercial applications is all. So anyway, getting back to marketplaces. What is another good one? We were just talking about it the other day. Oh man, I cannot remember for the life of me. If Gabriel's still here, I think we were talking about it with him. Anyway, just Google something like sites like Audio Jungle or sites like Epidemic Sound or whatever, and you'll find a multitude of places that you can go and start posting things. The other thing I'd say is make sure that you've got a solid website and a SoundCloud and that you're sharing things with people outside of your friend circles, because that's the only way that you will be seen really in this. It can be tough out there for people trying to break into the beat making scene. So Roku, people are liking this thing you did with Scruff for like 4 years. Okay. Yeah. Squirrel berry nuts as weapons for the squirrel apocalypse. Oh man. And we appreciate you, Travis. Just listen to the Shrepple episode as a pod editor. It really gave me some ideas. Nice. Gotta love that. Yeah, so here's the thing. When marketplaces like that, I'm reading Saf's comment about Pond 5 needs to open up some submissions for new creators, really. Okay, so the only thing that I will say counter to that is that if they did that, it would ruin everything. Right. The only reason a business closes its doors to new creators is because they are overwhelmed and they cannot legitimately provide greater value to their customers or existing creators, or I should say, or existing creators, because of market saturation. They've reached a tipping point. It is no longer fair to the people that have been established in said marketplace or network or ecosystem for several years or a decade or more. If that model starts to favor newbies coming in and posting hundreds of tracks a week or whatever and clogging up the review queues, it's just not something that can sustain. And conversely, for the customers don't want to sludge through hundreds of pages of results. Otherwise, they just freaking Google. You know, they go to marketplaces because they're supposed to be curated with gatekeepers in place, and that there are standards that are being adhered to, and that whatever they click on will inspire them in some way, shape, or form. They don't want to have to continue scrolling and clicking and scrolling and clicking to find what they want. So it is for the better. It is for the better. I know it's really frustrating to try to break into new places for in most situations, to some degree, everyone has to go through that part of that painful process when getting started. You just stick with it. You just stick with it. Gebro, hey, I was just talking about you. Can I send the trailer track approved by the music supervisor? Yeah, absolutely. Of course you can, dude. Where in Discord is the sample pack? Okay, so all of the monthly subscribers here get a free sample pack. Go to the subscriber rewards channel right here inside of Discord. You click on that. If you have your Twitch and your Discord accounts linked, you will have access to that. If you are currently subscribed and you do not have access to that, let me know, and we'll see if we can sort that out for you. Gebro, what is the name of the marketplace that you were selling trailers into when you first started coming by here and dropping tracks for us? This is going back probably like 9 months or so. What's the name of that place? I'm drawing a blank. Funky is fun, just saying. Hey, thank you, Tremtaz. I'm glad that it's inspiring you. Nice, Travis. Nice to know it's all coming together, even if some of it's still in boxes. Really well said. Thank you. I appreciate that. I've said it a few times, so I guess I've had practice. All right, Zev is probably still gone, so we're going to skip past him, and we're going to come over to Tim. Seva, I hope that the feedback that I give you resonates and that it helps you improve it. Tim, you are up. I'm assuming that this is Tim. This is Out of Luck. Hold on a second. Is this under copyright? This has the look of like something under copyright. Let's click through and just take a look really quick. We can't play stuff on stream, so if it is, because we don't do strikes against us here. Hey, Zev is back. Oh, I skipped right past you. Haha, Premium Beat, that's the one. Go check out that one too. This is great.
Je roule dans la Mazda, puis c'est ce qu'il y a en tabarnak. Je prends des notes pour moi, elle se demande à qui que je parle. Elle veut m'appeler papa, elle veut que j'y donne des claques. Quoi? Non, je donne pas de claques. Je suis pas un homme violent, je suis un homme plutôt lent. J'y parle gentiment, je suis un homme plutôt charmant. J'arrive pas lentement, je suis déjà dans le stationnement. Regarde par la fenêtre et parle-moi de tes sentiments. Je suis à la whisky, je regarde dans la foule et je te vois pas. Y'a trop de femmes dans la foule, c'est dommage, je me sens pas toi. Sur le beat, je me défoule, non, je me défoule pas sur toi. Je suis du rap féministe, c'est comme si, c'est comme ça. À ce qui paraît, je suis triste, non, c'est juste qu'il y a trop de rap. Le parcours ici, non, c'est une maison de chat. Je fais encore mes griffes, je me prépare pour mon repas. Je vois que t'as fait le lit, c'est bien pour le repas.
Oh, my volume is down. I thought this thing was just really quiet. My bad.
Je roule dans la Mazda, puis c'est ce qu'il y a en tabarnak. Je prends des notes pour moi, elle se demande à qui que je parle. Elle veut m'appeler papa, elle veut que j'y donne des claques. Quoi? Non, je donne pas de claques. Je roule dans la Mazda, puis c'est ce qu'il y a en tabarnak. Je prends des notes pour moi, elle se demande à qui que je parle. Elle veut m'appeler papa, elle veut que j'y donne des claques. Quoi? Non, je donne pas de claques.
All right, let me go back just a little bit on this. I have no idea why the volume was down on my YouTube, but I want to go back and hear the beginning of this thing.
Je roule dans la Mazda, puis c'est ce qu'il y a en tabarnak. Je prends des notes pour moi, elle se demande.
All right, so it's really just the intro vocals here. Around 30 seconds or so that could sit atop the mix better.
Quand mes griffes, je me prépare pour mon repas. C'est ce qu'il y a en tabarnak. Je prends des notes pour moi, elle se demande à qui que je parle. Elle veut m'appeler papa, elle veut que je lui donne des claques. Quoi? Non, je donne pas de claques. Je roule dans la Mazda, puis c'est ce qu'il y a en tabarnak. Je prends des notes.
All right, so I think that this is a pretty solid track, all in all. I think that you've got a few different elements throughout this mix that I'd like to hear just a little bit more of. I think that the wicked little digital ARP that you've got all the way over on the right, that thing could move around a little bit. It could come up and down in volume at different points to really accent and call some attention to it. I would also say that you've got a few different little metallic sound design effects in here, and those should be front and center. Like those things should be more present in the mix when they do pop up because they're ear candy. And the majority of this thing is lyrically driven. So anything that you can throw at the listener to just kind of spice up the sound design side of this whole thing is just going to draw them in a bit more and make them want to listen to it again to catch that fleeting moment, which is why I don't like the same thing being done again and again and again, right? It gives people a reason to go back and find that thing and listen to it. Your intro samples are freaking great. That intro vocal around 30 seconds before your main lyric line starts, I think can sit atop the mix better. More akin to what your main vocal is. Other than that, it's kind of similar mix feedback as a lot of these types of beats coming through right now. Your low end can be wrangled just a little bit. Make sure that anything dipping down toward the sub frequencies that is not an 808 has those frequencies removed by and large to cut down on competition there. You might want to have a play with putting just a very small touch of overdrive on your snare and your hats. Nothing with any gain added, just a little something, maybe target between 5 and 7K. It's just for a small added touch of brilliance. Let's see what people in the chat are saying. Threw in the sister track to the Rocco Rico one. This one still needs more work to stand out, but would appreciate technical feedback. Creative views. Cool. Yeah, absolutely. Poor Will. I love the face palm, Will. Oh, that's awesome. I want that. Oh, man. People are liking the video and the music. Yeah, it says I hate math in the intro. It's so good. Trailer says, I'm back. Wife is doing the school run today, so I get a bit of time back. Awesome. Awesome. Vanessa thinks that's just crazy. Oh, dude. And here's Rico in the background, sneak peeking Zamerit's work. Heidi says, enjoying today. I know I'm quiet. Had to give myself an attitude adjustment. Well, we know you're not sitting there smoking. How did you give yourself the attitude adjustment? Oh, that facepalm was your roommate. Oh, dude, I thought it was you. That's fucking great. That's so awesome. All right. Tim, I hope that this feedback resonates with you, helps you elevate it just a bit. Let's go back to Zev. Zev says, old track, new mix. Would love some feedback on the bass element specifically. Let's do this. Follow this man. He's doing great things right now. Ooh, debating dropping this tonight. Yeah, dude. We have the same brain. Oh man, the ending here. Dude, you have some room to really outro this thing with a whole bunch of crazy delays and stuff on the toms. I think it'd be kind of a fun way to end this. Dude, this is great. Okay, so in regards to the bass saturation, I will say, and it's not just because I'm hot on it right now, but I think the answer to the question here might be just top of the waveform saturation here. Just a little bit. And maybe it's just like a tiny bit of wave folding or something. And it's like, it's nothing really extreme. It's just a little bit, enough to rough it up, and maybe just the top, the positive side of your waveform, and that's it. It would leave the bottom really round and full. I think it might give the edginess that you desire. Anyway, yeah, I really don't have anything else. The watery little perk cool sound effect thing sitting off to the side, I think it could be put on more prominent display throughout. 909, it's Miss the Prodigy too, right? Yeah. I am hot on Rift as well. Yeah. Yeah, Saf is feeling some delay on the ending too. Yeah, I could seriously get behind that. I think that as long as you don't go too crazy, and as long as you mod in and out of it long form, swell wise, then I think that would be more than enough for the bass, because it stands on its own very, very well. Early on in the full mix, there are a couple of spots where you're like, ooh, I wish that was standing up a little bit more upright. But other than that, it's just freaking great. You're going to drop this tonight? I like this one. It's got a really good vibe. The acid, dude. The acid. I feel like you picked up that 303 and life just has not been the same since. All right, next up is Fuchsia. Yeah, it will get them dancing, all acid all the time, right? That's exactly what I thought the very first time I heard an acid bass. I was like, can we just have this all the time? Right? All right, Fuchsia 5, version 2.
Calling you baby, why you gotta be baiting? Looking all shady, falling from the lies I'm searching. Vision is fading, lights on my face I'm shaking. Looking for an exit, you're the one I'm evading. Yeah. Face is a masterpiece, ass so thick looking shoulderless. Everybody wants a piece, why you gotta tease? Let me hit you with the info. Bad bitch gon' worship and info. What is all of this for? She gon' get it where it is though. Yeah, real slow. Crawling on my body, she a real pro. Let me tell you something that you don't know. She a real hoe. Ease up, some more. Face down, nice up. Hold up, lay low. You might get shot. Ease up, some more. Face down, nice up. Hold up, lay low. You might get shot. Ease up, some more. Face down, nice up. Hold up, lay low. You might get shot. Ease up, some more. Face down, nice up.
Okay, I want to hear just a little bit more right about here.
You gotta be baiting, looking all shady, falling for the lies I'm searching, vision is fading. Calling you baby, why you gotta be baiting, looking all shady.
Okay, all right, cool. So here's what I got for you. At 16 seconds, I'm thinking a bit more mid-range emphasis or edge on that bass. You could do that through multiband compression. You could do it with some clever saturation targeting. It's kind of up to you how you do it, but I think it does need just a little bit more. Because once the full mix is in effect, then it's not quite cutting through at every point. I do want to just kind of hear this thing at a mastered loudness. I want to hear what all of that depth actually sounds like how it translates. The keys do seem just a touch quiet and a bit more emphasis on the mids for those as well. It sounds like you're doing a really nice job of using your stereo space this time. It's really good. That filter 132, I think it gets a little crispy. So here's something you can try to do. Adjust the resonance down in the beginning, but then as you start to do your cutoff mod, you can bring up your resonance just a little bit. And then that way you're not focusing. See, I think it's pretty easy to forget that cutoff and resonance, it's just this. It's an EQ accent at the point of extreme attenuation, right? So it's like, here's the cutoff of these frequencies, and this guy right here is accenting regardless of where you put it in the spectrum, right? So if you've got everything, well, I should be using the proper one. All right, because you're like way up here. Well, the thing is that when you send this thing through maximization and everything during the master, it's gonna blow things out. It's just gonna be too much. So I would suggest starting with a lower resonance, and then as you sweep past those pain point frequencies, you can kind of up it a little bit to get that funk effect back down. And then you also want to bring it down just slightly again as it gets down here, so you're not emphasizing those low frequencies that will muddy your mix. So it's kind of this kind of multi-prong approach to your modulation there, just kind of being aware at all times of what's being accented, and then the overall impact that has on the listener and the other stuff in your mix as well, because everything's connected, right? Dude, 2 minutes onward, that side chain, the pumping that you're putting in there is freaking wild. It changes the groove entirely. That motto, it just needs more. See what people are saying here. Still giving ideas to this mixing. It feels so hard. She's never thought of that and tried out. Okay, cool. So, yeah, really, I think that, you've brought through several really good things, and each time you bring them through, they're really solid. Like, your first pass at these things before you come looking for feedback is really solid. So I think you should really trust your gut. But I do think that there are small technical things like that filter, right? When we're not looking at a filter as an EQ, we tend to think of it as like this fairly flat set of options, right? We're moving cutoff, and we kind of forget about some of the other things in there. Octave per dB slope has a huge impact, right? The resonance percentage, it has a huge impact. And we just have to be a little bit more aware of where frequencies are in our mix, right? It's just like including the lowest frequencies in a reverb tail. You probably don't want to do that in a full mix. You probably don't want to accent more than one element at a time in a mix with resonance in those upper frequencies or the very low frequencies past a certain percentage, because you're either going to blow out your music or you're going to hit pain points on either side of the spectrum. So it's just those tiny little things for you right now, I think. I do have a question for you though, is mastering. Are you doing mastering, or are you only doing the mix down on these? Because I think, like Ben, we've been listening to your stuff for several months now, and I'm thinking that your ears are getting to that point where, and I'm not saying everyone needs to go out and learn how to master their own stuff, but going through the steps and understanding what's happening during the mastering process will help you deliver better mixes, right? So anyway, if you have not yet, haven't actually thought of it that way, I look at it as a cut this thing, then yeah, exactly. And I think that most people up to a certain point in their learning curve think exactly that. And it's because we really only have so much bandwidth, right? Mental bandwidth, where there's just a ton of stuff to learn and take in and apply. But that's what I would suggest, is start taking a look at what happens during the mastering process and why these things in the mix stage are important at the mix stage. When you do that, you're going to have much more informed decision making, right? You're not going to reach for just a filter. You're going to start thinking about, oh, should I use a 2-pole or a 4-pole here, right? That type of thing. Doing mastering on my tracks, yeah, this is unmastered though, but I will master it when it's finished. Yeah. So if you are already do that, just think about, or doing that, then just stop and think about the things that start to give you little pain points in the mastering process, and see what you can eliminate in the mix, in the mix down. This is good. Bob Katz's book, I recommend halfway through it. Bob Katz, Mastering Audio, The Art and Science. Yeah, dude, absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's useful to know mastering even if you don't plan to be an expert in it. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Absolutely. All right, we got Salve up. This one is called What You Give. Ooh. Tasty. Hang tight. We're going to click through so I can take down the volume on this just a little bit. It's a little hot. It's kind of blowing out a little bit. Nothing to see here. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Let me try that again.
You give me a feeling. You give me
You are welcome, Fuchsia. I hope it resonates with you. Dude, this artwork is awesome. The track here is awesome, but the volume mix is way off. It does get a little bit hard to listen to it a couple of points. I've turned it down like 13 dB here for the stream, so I hope I didn't turn it down too much. But I like the maneuvers. I like the ideas. The whole thing is overblown by a lot. I have no idea what the LUFs are on this, but my gut's telling me it's like way up, like neg 6, neg 3, something like that, and it should probably be down at like neg 16. Anyway, yeah, it's hard to give you really like proper feedback at this range. I'm gonna see what I hear in the last little bit of this. Oh yeah, no, I can't. If you could drop something that isn't quite as hot in the luffs, I am happy to go through this because you've brought us really good stuff in the past. So, this is so weird. The volume distorts it way too much. This got crazy potential. Carnage is calling. Yeah, I would say that this has crazy potential too. I want to hear this without whatever took it up into that extreme range with the luffs. I'm assuming that it's going through, you know, like Ultra Maximizer or something like that. Take that off, bring it back, and let me hear this again. All right, so Merits says, only started this last night, noodling. Any feedback is useful. I might expand it and I might drop the percussion. It was a vocal sample for a competition, which I put through a granular instrument and shaped the wave. Oh, you finished the remix. Nice. Nice. Yeah, it's hella hot. Yeah. If you want to drop a different one, man, you are absolutely welcome to. Okay, so which put through a granular instrument and shaped the wave. Cool. Here we go. This one is from Zamertz. It's called Electric Cactus, and he's always got the best artwork. This is awesome here. Let me get the volume back up here. All right, dude. So this had me thinking in different directions. First, like early on, there's a whole lot of really early electronic music stuff, like 60s, right? And then there's the 90s improv electronic scene stuff, like really starting to hit there. And then he's got these little guitar noodly things that are so Jerry. Like it feels like you're channeling multiple eras into something really, really simple. You have this thing, Zamertz, where you start to explore an idea and you don't overcomplicate it, which is how all of this works, I think. You have an idea, and then you have another idea. It could be completely juxtaposed, and because of the way that you focus on the whole less is more thing and play with your time-based effects, it works, and you come up with the coolest palettes that you're working with. It's great. And they always feel inspired and organic. And it feels like we're capturing a moment with you. I know I've said this before. And this is, okay, so Roku is saying the same thing I think that I've been saying before, which is now it's time to play. Now it's really time to play. You have so much room to take any one of these elements and do something more with it. And it doesn't ever have to be a wild, crazy thing. You can stay within the boundaries that you've already set. But just more play in general, I think, is the only thing that can improve this. Anyway, I say keep the perks. Just play with them a little bit more. And this is exactly the kind of play that I'm talking about. You obviously will sit there with something until it kind of fits this vibe. So I think you can get there with the perks. And I think that if you just focus on having fun with them, just playing, if it puts a really big smile on your face, and you're probably going in the right direction. Man, those little guitar bits, though, very Jerry. Very Jerry. Might experiment with some of the instruments, and I'll keep the perks. Meditation is music for me. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think that Zamertz ever has a problem checking the ego, so I think that's brilliant advice. Oh, you were listening to Plantasia a lot, dude. Yeah, I missed that comment before. Yeah, Mez TV, what up? How are you? Welcome in. Happy Friday. I just love what you bring every single time, Zamertz. Looking forward to whatever your addition in the monthly community challenge this month too. All right, Mattoid, you are up. Come to life. Oh, talk about timely, DJ Empirical. Absolutely. Hey, I did not see the Kanye. Is this copyrighted? Thank you, Trem Ties. Am I going to get a strike for playing this? Let's click through and see what this is all about. Lurking while you do some DAW stuff too. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, thank you for being here. All right, we'll listen to this for a bit. I tried going to the track from Discord. Doesn't do it though. Ah. Thank you. I guess apparently it's been a long week. All right, I'm interested. We're not going to play the whole thing. I wonder how many seconds it takes. Yeah, no, it doesn't do you any favors. We can't play anything with Kanye in here. I don't think he's got anything out there that he's letting people play. Play it backwards. You might be hearing a mask. All right, let's move on to the next one. Matchoid, if you want to drop something that does not have Kanye in it or anything that will get us a strike, I'm happy to put ears on it for you. This is Finesse. Finesse, you still around? Ooh, hold on.
Hey, yo.
Hold on. Let's turn this down a little bit. All right, try this again.
Hey, yo. Man, you know I had to do it one time for the one time. As far as my game is on.
No Mariah Carey, no Kanye.
Yo.
It's half their income.
And it's that game of life, not a video game. Think outside the box of your video frame. Them haters, they love to hate. Can't remember the truth, but if you write it in stone, they can't get rid of your name. Diamonds forever, but I'm just trying to take it to masters. Round up the challenger, I'm just trying to make it the fastest. Unheard of, but I said you can hear it from me. Catch word of this legend out here in this league. Legendary man, feel like I've been out on the spree. Place your bets on, not what doubters thought it would be. Know what they on, know that they ain't on that with me. Don't need your 2 cents up, cause I ain't on it for free, but it's practice. Make greatness till they marvel at me like Galactus. Staying patient, they ain't bothering me with them tactics. Call me Clank, whole game I've been chilling with Ratchet. Like Doc Strange, handshaking with darkness and magic. Tell me why the kingdom looking so heartless and tragic. I'm here to turn it, got the key, blade. Nobody from the shadow throwing me, shade. Legend has it, they just trying to shadow me, rate. But I ain't sponsoring y'all, they just being toxic and probably never get a sponsor at all. Need some energy to drink, tell Monster to call. A G Fuel, I ain't dropping the ball, I'm on top of the wall. I climbed up like a titan. They gon' need a tent just to hide under night in. They see I'm a hero, put my all might in. Bright like Shiro, move like Biden, fly like Spiro. Bullseye right in, can't be fearful. Be inviting and live free, cause there's always gonna be pain involved. But you gon' feel a lot better when your game evolve. And it's that game of life, not a video game. Think outside the box of your video frame. Them haters, they love to hate, can't remember the truth. But if you write it in stone, they can't get rid of your name. Diamonds forever, but I'm just trying to take it to masters. Bronze up the challenger, I'm just trying to make it the fastest. Unheard of, but I said you could hear it from me. Catch word of this legend out here in this league. I said, don't believe it till you see one, I'm real different. Big dog like T1, I'm built different. Real gifted, switchability, skill shifted. I left the gym to 1v9, I'm still lifting. Horses in the stable and they looking identical. You don't want a racehorse, Charlie type critical. Don't take it too hard, cause it's not true, no. But if you need, I got more like Yasuo. But I ain't clout chasing, can't put everybody name in. Left the fame outside when everybody came in. Just trying to get my game on, Twitch.gaming. Spit, I flame on, tracks I'm flaming. Hit like Fei Long, solid like Mei Ling. Rhymes nice, so fine, China like Beijing. It's kinda like chess, no waiting. Legend has it, I'm the best, no debating.
All right. This one is easy to like. This one is really, really easy to like. It's got a really awesome old school vibe. I love the 8-bit synth. The mix is a bit off, mostly in the drums. I'm not sure how polished you should try to make the lyrics because, I mean, from a mix standpoint, because I really like the old school, raw and authentic, kind of genuine appeal that it has, especially with the 8-bit love that it's got in there. But the whole thing feels off because of the drums. So I would find like a traditional boom bap kick and clap, and not try to spread them in any way. If you want width from this, you could play with doubling up the vocals and start doing a bit more on the mixing side there, or you could put another element into the mix other than the few instruments you've already got popping to fill up the sides or add additional depth or something like that. Either one of those is a good choice, but spreading your clap and your kick is just not. I really, really like the old school vibe. You got to watch your luffs, and we got to fix the drums. And then this is awesome. Then this is really awesome. I really love the retro vibe. Like the sort of flamminess of those claps. The flamminess of the claps is fine. Kids, stay on the channel when you're dropping music. Show up for your stuff. If you leave something for feedback and not being here, there's something about your attitude. Damn kids, get off my lawn. Except for I do get messages from all sorts of people saying that they watch the VODs constantly. So send the synth into evolving destruction at the end. Yeah, like game over. Ooh, I like that idea, you guys. I like that. Like just totally degraded into bits, huh? Okay, I like that. Yeah. And I like the vocal flow too. So, Lonzo, when you circle back and watch this, know that we are liking this vibe. I'd swap out those drums. I'd swap them out, personally. And then see what this whole thing feels like. Because I'm hard pressed right now to go in the direction of like, hey, let's work on those vocals. It's really raw. And there's something that's really, really nice about that. It's really refreshing just to have some old school rap, you know? Anyway, my 2 cents. Tremties. Oh man, we've still got a couple here, don't we? Huh? All right, Tremties says, warning, I don't have an intro for this yet, so it starts kind of abrupt. Okay, I found something. Definitely a whip that I made just when I got into epic hybrid stuff, and I realized I want this done, and I want this to sound big, like filter sweeps or something. The sound itself is kind of there, but I want it to sound bigger. Not wider, bigger. This is from April of this year. It's called Metal D&B from Tremties. All right, so Samarit's is saying Audio Slave. I definitely felt like there is some kind of Soundgarden grinding happening in there. This got the same kind of potential that your other old metal hybrid stuff has that you've brought. I think this is like the third one that you've brought now of this older stuff. And you're right, it is abrupt, but boom, right? I'd give that bass an edge and drive it a bit. More separation for the guitar, set it off to one side a bit more. I would put saturation on the drum bus, and don't be afraid to use distortion. Not heavy, but enough to make it pop. And I'm not talking about the entirety of the sound. Like, bust that out, do a parallel process on this and just give it a little sizzle. I think the kick needs a little bit of transient love, right? Just boost the transient just a little bit. I think it needs, when you stop and you look at, I mean, let me back up. As a drummer, when it comes to metal, speed metal, double kick rolls, that type of stuff, I want a hard mallet every single time, right? Because of the clarity and articulation. If I'm going for something, you know, if we're going like AC/DC or something like that, soft mallet is fine. I think this needs a really hard knocker. I think that's really what this kind of kick needs. So in lieu of that, if you don't have that, just a greater click and a harder edge, not a softer rounded kind of appeal. Not that this kick has like a super round appeal or anything. I think it's almost there, but if you listen really closely to it, it's a thud and not a knock. And what you want for those rolls, for the clarity of the rolls specifically, is that knock. So anyway, 144. I feel you. This is what I'm hearing from you. You want the epic feels with the power. And it's not there. I think the synth needs to be moved up to the front for that solo. I think it's a matter of moving things again, not necessarily in stereo position, but with volume, putting something in a position to really stand in front of everything is the first step of having it really be big. And then the overall process of the entire mix, I think, is where you're going to get most of the power from. So I would attend to the volume mixing stuff first, find the extra separation for the guitar, swap out the kick, balance the synth, especially during the solo. That hi-hat, it seems a bit dry and isolated. It seems to be slightly separate from the rest of the drums. And I'm not sure if it's just because of the placement, because it's just sitting outside of that mid channel where everything else is. And it's not really getting a lot of room. It's getting a really close crop mic. But it feels like it's just kind of sitting there. So anyway, hit those three things, and then go back and start to work on the actual mix, EQ, and compression. I think that's where you're probably going to start to feel a lot of that stuff coming out. And don't be shy to use something like an overdrive instead of compression to really make different frequencies pop. I think that might be the way to go. Will, thanks for being here, dude. I'll see you on the flip. Use social distortion. Party on, Garth. Right? All right, let's see what these people are saying over here. Anime battle platformer music, right? Right? Hit me up this week. If I've done punk metal bands for years, I'll help you out polishing this. Nice. Been listening to Soundgarden since I was about 13. I remember getting the mixtapes and bringing them into school, and there was a language teacher's cassette player we hijacked in the mornings. Nice, dude. So going back, this is going back a minute, but going back to when I was like, I don't know, 19 to like 20, I don't know, 25 or something. I looked a lot like Chris Cornell at different stages. And I still played a bit of metal at that point. So I was serious into their vibe. I feel like I miss that period, that very specific period of music, greatly still. There was so much raw, fresh rock and roll energy still in it. You know, when Sub Pop was still just like really coming up fast, and before Kurt died and all of it. You're right, the Hats don't have their own channel. Strange. Da, 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 da. I work, pay what you want basis, so don't worry about cash too much. Nice. Death was your jam. Yeah, it was very electric energy. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Scruffy Rico is up next. Okay, this is the sister track of the Roku Rico collab. This still needs more work to make it stand out, but it continues the chill vibe. Please don't feel you have to feed this one back if lots of others are in the queue. Okay, well then we will circle back to it. I'm going to hit Gabriel next. Always brings the goods. Great Rain, thank you so much for being here. Speaking of rain, real alien space bats, welcome in. I'm starting this over. Gray Rain. Oh, Ryan. Hey, hold on a second. Drew? I'm seeing a longtime friend, winky face. Love the desk bell. Is that a sound iron freebie? Huh? All right. A couple things for you here, Gabriel. This is it's another good one. I'm questioning this, but I'm wondering, what are your thoughts about just a touch more sizzle on that initial hit? The very first one right out the gate. This one. That one. Just because the click is so present. I feel like you're not getting the same kind of impact that you normally do from your intro booms here. Anyway, this one is also kind of reminiscent of the, I forget what you called it because you brought through so many and it's been so many months, but the Clockwork trailer that you brought by a while back. I love the slow burn of this one. I love that it's a 90-second. Okay, so the vocal samples, I think maybe if you put them into a long form volume mod going up, maybe even the entirety, I don't know. At least 30 seconds of build would probably feel really, really good. Even if it was just straight linear, I think it would just slowly increase the tension and anticipation. Anyway, I'm not sure that it has the right reverb on them. Something about the reverb was not sitting right with me on these. Did you EQ the reverb? Like to recycle Clockworks. Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. JB Thomas. Uh-oh. Well, herein lies a problem. I was R.A. Brown Junior High School. I just had lots and lots of friends that went to JB Thomas. More sizzle! Rain, have you been lurking in the background? Big fan of Clockworks. GMG says hi. And Heidi is in on this. All right, so it looks like everybody's liking it. I was there for a short time, if I recall. No. I visited Thomas a few times, but I never actually attended. I was from the other side of the tracks. I rode my skateboard or my bike or whatever the couple of miles to Brown, but I was actually a couple of blocks away from Aloha High School. Yeah. Me and one other person on our entire street went to the Hillsborough School District. Everyone else on the street went to Aloha. How crazy is that? There's some boundaries for you. Anyway. Doing the bats thing. A little lurking, a little talking. Yeah. All right. Well, then I guess I'll just have to sit here and think about it. Went to a different high school every year. All right, so Gabriel, I like it. Other than maybe a touch more sizzle on that initial hit, and I'd listen to the reverb critically if I were you and ask yourself if it's really the right one, because something's not sitting right with me on it. So anyway. Sounds like me. I went to the other high school in town because they had orchestra. Man. All right. I guess we have enough time to squeeze in a little bit more. Subvids and salves. And then that's it. No more. All right. So we got one from Zach. Zach, if you're still here, drop a link in the chat, please, for Universal. Everybody, and when you see that, drop in the chat. Oh, it's Black Hole. Okay, so, yeah. So, Zach, yeah, drop a link for Universal. Gebro, Black Hole, probably a fine choice, but did you EQ? Was that serial or was that parallel? And did you cut out the lows? I would probably cut out more. I don't know. Something was biting into the mix there. Excellent. Okay, so everybody can click on this link. It says martiansargent.card.co. That is the new album drop from Zach Subvids in the chat. Here we go. This one, he says, is a bit long, but the idea is there. Modern, trad, Irish roots. I need some more sound design and composition. Here we go. This is good. I love the room that you're playing with. Less is more. I think that the sort of, or the frame drum or whatever it is right in the middle, I think it could come up just a little bit in the lows, boost it around like maybe a nice round boost, 80 to 120, something like that. I think it'd probably fill up the entire low end of your mix easily with it. Looks like people are digging. Hurdy-gurdy. Great, I will see you on the other side. Thomas, huh? Thomas, rivals. Roku says, I couldn't get into the conservatory since I didn't play an instrument, even though nowadays a computer is considered one. I never had the privilege of going to the right vocation, so I had to learn everything myself. Remind you, though, this was in the time the YouTube wasn't there and there were no studios near where I lived, right? Oricophony has bagpipes and it's an intro right now because it's but it's a lot of sounds don't really need, and the ones I'm into like nickel harpa and the bagpipes are fairly deeply sampled. It can be kind of tough to find those. Someone put a decent one out a while ago, but I can't remember who it was. Actually, they put out they also put out a hurdy-gurdy and a, what the hell are they called? The little harmonica keyboard thingies. I forget what they're called. Maybe if you look up one of those, the melodica. Yeah, if you look up melodica sampled instrument, maybe you'll find the brand, the company that put it out. All right, so this is the makeup for Salve here. This is an update to the Kyrist remix. And away we go. And we're running over here, so this is probably the last one. Oh, looks like one more person dropped in. We'll see if we can fit this one in. Thank you for participating, Slit. Thank you, Slit. Appreciate it. Welcome back, Will. I'm running over again. Dude, Salve, I'm so glad that you put this back up, or that you posted a second track so we could actually hear something all the way through from you. I'm sorry the other one was so blown out. Luffs are a little bit hot on this one as well. Super freaking tasty, though. Brilliant control, really good palette of sounds, really good sound design work, really good control. You're pushing a lot of boundaries, and I freaking love it. Some elements seem like they are being pushed too hard. It makes me wonder if there's maybe just a maximizer working on this entire track. And if so, let's take it off. It's one thing to boost something to hear the loudness, like as an A/B or something. It's something else entirely to bounce it that way and then expect like SoundCloud and whatnot to translate it well. The moves you are making in your music are freaking brilliant and fantastic. And your sound design work, again, it's seriously on point. So really the only critique that I have in your stuff at this point is loudness control, is just the loudness control. And I would point out, slit track movement was really on point. What was I about to say? I would point out that it's really important to keep your stuff within a certain range as you're working through your mix, because your plugins are engineered to respond to sounds within that range. You're always going to get the best output possible if you work within those intended ranges and then blow stuff up afterwards. So for what it's worth, that's really the only critique that I have on this. If you want to push your stuff, do it on your groups, but not on your master bus. Yeah, exactly. So am I basically just pushing the limiter too hard? Yeah, well, that's it right there, is that you've got a limiter on there. And if that's sitting on your out, there shouldn't be any of that happening in a mix. When you get this into the master, of course, it's fine to put it through the maximizer, the limiter, to like achieve some sort of like set loudness there to bring it all up. That's expected. But I feel it's just being put in the wrong place right now. Yeah, so Zev Music has talked about this in the chat right now. We are helping to build a new future, basically. There's a new DAW in the market. It was originally built for post-production called Audio Design Desk. You hear me talk about it constantly. I'm always making stuff for it. You know this. But we have our sights set on taking on the entire DAW market. And it is coming to fruition very, very quickly. So we are looking for feedback and input and insights, and we want to connect to people who are willing to use this thing and tell us their thoughts. Right now, we are in a phase where we would love to see people open it for the very first time in front of us so we can see the kind of reactions and pain points that you run into, the struggles that you might have, the things that aren't necessarily intuitive, etc. If this interests you, shoot me a DM or shoot a message to Zev Music. We will get you set up. We are not going to pay you for your time, but we will give you a brand new DAW, and we will talk to you and take all of your thoughts and opinions and concerns and ideas seriously, because you people are the only people that we really care about in all of this. We are looking to lay the old boys club to rest here. So, and it is not on Windows. It will not be on Windows for quite a while. Putting that out there, surface level. Anybody wants to run this thing and they're only running on Windows and they don't want to run Mac, consider a Frankenstein or a Franken Mac partition, perhaps. Yes. Yeah, we will. We will. Andromeda, we absolutely will. Yeah, I really only do audio on Mac as well. So. Hey, DJ Empirical just bought a brand new MacBook. All right, so what kind of thresholds are you guys putting on like Ozone Maximizer? Okay, so that is a question that's got to be dealt with case by case, and it's not the threshold that you want to make a standardized thing. That's the opposite approach. What you want to do is take a look at your LUFS. That's why I've always got a multimeter open when I'm working. And where the hell did my metering go? Why did everything move to a different place? That's weird. I installed new plugins and things moved. Anyway, keep an eye on your LUFS, okay? When you send out your mix for master, maybe it's something like this, neg 24 LUFS neg 6 dB. And that gives you headroom to make this 5, almost 6 dB louder, and you can bring up your LUFS to probably neg 16 or something like that. Your type of music, you could even go as hot as like neg 14. As long as you have a lot of dynamic range, you want to be tracking your true peak and RMS to make sure that you're actually getting a clear picture of this. And then there's also the loudness analyzer services that you can use. Loudness penalty is one of them. They also make a plugin. You just drop a file right here, and it's going to tell you exactly what a streaming platform is going to do to it, with it, whether it's within normal industry standards or not. Macs are for rich people or people that run 5-year-old Macs. Dremia. I'll tell you what. I do have Macs that are over 10 years old that still run incredibly well. And yes, I've had many, 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 many Macs. I spent more money trying to stay current in the Windows world and stay operational in the Windows world because there's so much more to manage. And I definitely don't hate on any platforms. There are plenty of things to like about all of them. But I always do try to put that out there when people put the price thing up because, you know, you do the math. How long do they last and how many headaches do you have? And for me, it always ends up working out quite well. So neg 6 LUFS is not what you want. It's neg 6 decibels. So negative 6 decibels is a good amount of headroom to go into a mastering process with. If you are at neg 6 LUFS, you are already way over the perceived loudness threshold. Neg 6 is ear splitting. Like that is a serious pain point for most humans. 16 is the loudest most things can be on average, integrated LUFS. So just it is confusing when you start getting into that stuff, which side of the meter to be looking at and all that kind of stuff. But you do want to make sure that your LUFS are within that reasonable range. All right, let's just see really quick. Oops, where are we here? All right, Slit, I'm going to hit play on this and see how long this is. 2. Okay, we'll do this really quick. Last one of the day, guys. This is great. There's really not a lot to pick apart here. I love the retro arcade kind of vibe. The hats, the top of that synth, and the snare, they all kind of blur together at a couple of different points, and it's because their top end frequencies are being accented. It's kind of a thin sound. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that they're all three kind of in that same spot. So what I would say is separate them more and vary your EQ approach for each sound a bit. In other words, take a look at the main focal point of each sound, its natural focal point, and then make small attenuations in EQs on other sounds in your mix to allow that frequency or group of frequencies to pop in that sound. The other thing you want to do as you're going through your mix and doing that is find a position in the stereo field for each thing as well. Leave your kick in the middle and play kind of footloose and fancy free with everything else until you start to feel like you're hearing each thing in the mix the right way. Don't move stuff too far out of center for this. If you want to adhere to that old school vibe. But those small little changes are really what you're missing here. I think the other stuff is really solid. See what everyone else is saying. I'm gonna figure out this loudness stuff self. Yeah, dude, it will click with you, and it will happen in no time, and you're gonna have a massive level up because of it. Yeah, trem ties is correct. This is super solid. Studio Ubuntu for years. Now my laptop. How to give it up some plugins. Yeah. Should I just duck the other tracks when hats hit? No, it would cause havoc. What you should do is with an EQ, just take a look at what you can do for that hat specifically, right? Like perhaps you have a little bit of bottom end cut out, right? Because there's some errant frequencies down here that you don't need, which might help your kick and your bass cut through a little bit more. And then maybe way up here on the top, let me get rid of this crazy example here. Maybe way up here on the top, you've taken off just a little bit because you see frequency activity going straight up into space here. And then you use a shelf just to back it off just a little bit. And maybe you use just a small amount of accent in a spot that's a little bit lower down the frequency spectrum where you're less likely to be hitting pain points or whatever, right? Make sure that, your snare is probably going to be brightest around like 4K. Your hi-hats might be up here a bit more, right? So what you're going to do is in your hi-hats, for instance, maybe there's this tiny little dip here where there's maybe, what was the other one that was clashing? It was hats. Oh, the synth. And maybe the synth has a tiny little bump here as well because the snare has a natural little accent here, right? So you're just going in and you're making tiny little attenuations. That means the opposite of an accent. It's a small reduction in decibels wherever something else has a natural accent. And this subtractive approach to mixing is really going to help because you're not going to overdrive any of your sounds from their natural position. And you're just going to create tiny little bits of room for other things in your mix. The other thing to keep in mind is that it doesn't always have to be an EQ that sets it apart from other things, right? If your hi-hat is a little bit to the left, then that means that your snare could be a bit more center-centric, or maybe your synth is pushed over to the side, like 10 cents or something over to the right, and your hi-hat is on the left, like 7 steps to the left or something. Anyway, just a couple thoughts that you can consider while you're doing your mix, and anything to create the separation is what you want here. Yeah, Tremtize, I got to go too. We are way over, but we're going to drop you off somewhere. I'm going to run over to my browser, hit refresh on Twitch, and see who's streaming. You guys are always amazing and fantastic, and I love you all. Thank you for being here with me. We didn't even touch the DAW today. We didn't make anything. How about that? Again, on a Friday. Man, you guys. Anyway, y'all are freaking fantastic. I will be back on Monday after the weekend. Who should we go say hi to? Kenny's on. Bauer's on. Let's go say hi to Bao. Let's go say hi to Bauer. Oh, is he doing some feedback too? Something. There's something going on over there. All right, I'm going to drop you guys off with Bauer. You guys are epic. I'll see you on the flip. I'm sorry I have to run out the door like this, but I appreciate you. I'll see you Monday. Take care. Peace out. Stay inspired.
OhmLab, what's up, baby? Talk to me. Talk to me. Okay. Now, much like, you know, Alt J in this song, they say happiness is between two buns. And I'd say that now, as far as the track is concerned, we are going in between two buns to the meat of the sandwich. Welcome to the bass, brass, and drums. OhmLab, I'm doing well today. How are you? Happy Friday, TGIF. I'm cracking open a remix that drops today. Just to show you, you know, when I'm off stream, how I get down. You know Stream Bauer. It's splice loops, it's splice loops, it's splice loops. Then a kick, maybe a shaker, and the sound of a stick going into a dog's